Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey, Eric. So good to be here. How are you?
So for the listeners' sake, Jen and Matt Martinelli, I've known you guys. Our kids played sports together. I think, if my memory serves me correctly, football, right?
Yes.
And your little kiddo played with my little kiddo, and this is this is pre-COVID, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
We're going back 19?
2018, I believe it was.
2018. So we're going back 4 maybe plus years, which is wild that you guys and I have gotten to know each other. So it's really cool to have you on here today. We're reconnecting because we probably haven't seen each other in, I don't know, since COVID.
Yeah.
And so we've got some familiarity here, and it's great to see you guys. And we're going to talk about everything that you're doing in the industry. So why don't we just kind of start with what you are doing, because it's very unique. You had started it when we met originally in 2018. The company you guys started is called Canvas Me, and it's super unique. So why don't we just start with what the hell is Canvas Me? I'm going to throw it out to Jen, ladies first. Sorry, Matt.
Thank you, Eric.
Ladies first. Jen, what is Canvas Me?
Yeah, so Canvas Me at a high level is the LinkedIn for the beauty professional. So very similar to this two-sided marketplace where LinkedIn has professionals creating portfolios. Canvas Me offers the opportunity for beauty students and beauty professionals to create a beautiful digital portfolio where they're uploading videos, they're uploading imagery. They can share their portfolio out with the world to be seen on a national level. And then it also offers the opportunity for beauty businesses and brands to post career opportunities. And through those career opportunities, they're also humanizing that business or brand. So that brand can upload videos and imagery, and then that professional can apply with a click of a button at a high level. That's how it works.
Yeah, and I think what's really cool about it is that we allow these artists to be marketed like never before. So anything that they're putting on their portfolio, any piece of data, any information that they choose to put on their portfolio is searchable by business owners in this industry, it's searchable by brands in this industry, and vice versa. As an artist or a student, I can browse opportunities based on whatever I feel like is relevant for my career. So whether it's a full-time, part-time, suite rental, chair rental, education role, I can really get narrow on my searches and find opportunities and save a lot of time and energy when I do that.
So not to digress, but I was teasing Matt earlier that he has the second best hair in the industry. Of course, me being the best hair in the industry. And Jen chimed in that when they go out in public, Matt is often stopped by strangers to compliment him on his hair. Is that correct?
Yes, it is a very big issue, Eric. And I think we need to, bring him down a little bit from his hair status.
Well, listen, I think, I was very fortunate with the hair, but Eric, you're a lot taller than I am. So
okay.
I sometimes would give up the hair sometimes for the height, but I think God has done it. God has blessed me with good hair, and I think He makes me feel good wherever I am around the world.
100%. Yes, and you're in the right industry.
Fair. God is fair. Yeah, He doesn't give everyone everything that they want. Like I don't want big cheeks, but I got them. So I'm tall with big cheeks. And maybe you're a little shorter with great bone structure and amazing hair. So that's the way it works.
You would never know, but I have massive thighs. You would never know.
Yes.
I've never noticed your thighs. I've never noticed your thighs.
It's because it's an issue, but I was a soccer player growing up, so that's all I did was play soccer. And so I have big legs, and they just don't fit with the rest of my body.
So now and then I'm subject to advertising from jeans manufacturers who say, for guys with big thighs. And I always think that that's really funny because I guess I have normal thighs. I never thought of that as being a problem, but apparently there is a market.
There's a whole market out there.
Summertime in Jersey, it's not a great place to be.
Well, the winter time is even better when you have the big white thighs. That's the best.
I'm very pale. Yeah.
Well, when you go to the gym with the short guy shorts, and you've got the white thighs, there's a lot of value to that. And, in combination with the hair, I can see you getting a lot of attention in public.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
I usually hope that the hair distracts people from looking lower.
Thighs.
Yeah.
Got it.
It does, it works.
So we've digressed, and now we're going back into what matters to the listeners, which is Canvas Me. So you guys have described it. What I hear you saying is something that is very new, something that is filling a niche in the industry. It's a recruitment tool, and I'm saying this is my impression, and you can correct me or double down on what I'm saying. This is a recruitment tool in the industry where I don't think that really, at least one that I've known of, I haven't known of a recruitment tool. So, and I'm gonna boil it down a little bit further. So if you're a hairstylist or a beauty school student, you can upload your profile, if you call it that, with your portfolio. I think you used that word. And
exactly.
you can put you can put videos, you can put pictures. Can you put videos?
Yep. Videos,
that's
pictures.
Advanced. Videos, pictures, you can put a resume, and then if anybody's hiring, you mentioned brands. So brands are hiring. Give us some examples of what brands are looking for right now. If you go to Canvas Me, what are brands on there looking for?
Yeah, so we have some amazing opportunities for seasoned professionals. So all of the L'Oreal PPD brands are looking for national educators. So I'm talking everybody from LP to Matrix to Redken to Biolage to Shu, Kerastase, Pulp Riot, they all are. And so where we differ is that, and you mentioned the video earlier, Eric, like that's a really key component of the portfolio because we truly believe that stylists haven't done a good job of truly humanizing who they are. Like it goes beyond their work, and especially when you're working with brands, like you need to be able to showcase soft skills and your values and your passions through more than just imagery and words. You need to be able to connect with people via video. So we educate our members, we educate our salons on really how to humanize themselves from a core value perspective, what's gonna set their soul on fire, and that's how you develop the connection you want with brands. And so a lot of our brands some of their requirements are twofold. So they ask people to upload a video about why they love the brand, why they love the products. And then the second video is them educating the brand on anything but hair. So they want to know, like, how do you tie a shoe? Give me the instructions, give me the step-by-step. How do you load the dishwasher, right? So they're having people create these videos that don't focus on hair, but just talk about communication skills and walking people through different steps. It's really, really fascinating. And what we've seen through the brands, and the reason why the brands love Canvas Me is because the diverse level of candidate that's applying. So we kind of level the playing field because not everybody knows how to create a resume. Not everybody knows how to create a portfolio, but our platform allows them to easily do that step by step. And so we're kind of leveling the playing field because there's so many people that may not have applied because they felt like from a business perspective, they just didn't know how to create the right assets, where we do it for them.
Yeah, so I just want to rewind too. I know, Eric, you talked about it being a recruitment tool. And while, yes, it essentially started off to solve that major recruitment issue that we had in the beauty space that really has magnified in the last few years. But really, at the end of the day, it's a tool to allow that professional to have a voice on a national scale. So we created Canvas Me essentially so that we can empower that beauty professional to be seen anywhere in the world that they want to go. I could be, in the middle of the country and have a dream to want to go to LA, New York, Chicago, Italy, right? I can now leverage my portfolio to level up at every level of my career. And that includes being seen in other cities and other states, right? And so as I'm creating that portfolio, I have that in mind. I can share out my portfolio. It becomes like my website. And then, yes, there are brands and businesses looking to hire and connect with those artists who maybe they would have never had visibility into, right? Because they're not on the same coast. They now can connect with those artists and they're hiring, yes, for full-time, that traditional full-time right out of school, but they're also hiring for brand educators, national artists. They're, it's that educator that you always looked up to that's doing a 6-city tour. And when they come into your city, they're looking for an assistant, right? And so how can we empower this network, this community of people to really level up at every level of their career? Even if I'm an owner, I can level up and be an educator. I can assist my favorite artists as they come into town, right? And so how can we be seen and level up and continuously grow in our careers to reach our maximum potential? And that's really what our mantra, that's what our goals are, is to help everybody achieve their highest form of potential.
One of the coolest things about the industry that I talk about a lot is how many different things you can do. You know, if now and then somebody who is a behind the chair hairdresser who's had a long successful career there is like maybe getting a little burnt out and they want to do something else, and maybe they want to try a corporate gig. You know, they can do that. Absolutely. The brands are looking for people like that. A lot of the hairdressers who've been working behind the chair are not familiar with how to even start the process of connecting with a brand in with that kind of goal of, you know, working for the brand full time. But it's not just full time. I think, Jen, you didn't say the word part time. Maybe you did and I missed it. But this is also for part time, right? So if somebody wants to kind of pare down behind the chair and and work in some sort of other gig as a part-time educator or something like that, Canvas Me is a place that they can go for that. So it's not just part-time. I also want to hit on, why not Instagram? I could hear a lot of listeners thinking right now, well, I have my portfolio on Instagram and I'm there, and I have my personality on Instagram, but maybe not as much as Matt and Jen are saying that I could put on Canvas Me, but isn't that good enough?
It's not. And so listen, we have an API written into Instagram. So when you sync your portfolio, it showcases
what's an API?
So basically we have code that's written into Instagram. So whenever somebody syncs their account on Canvas Me, and whenever they post to Instagram, it automatically updates their portfolio on Canvas Me. So it's really cool. So we love Instagram. We do it with TikTok. We do it with Facebook, YouTube as well. From a recruiting perspective, it's not enough, right? First of all, when you're coming at it, we work with thousands of students, right? Their Instagram handles, they're not even their names, right? So as a salon owner, how are you searching for people? How are you finding them? How do you know that they're looking for a job? How do you know what their passions are? Like, a lot of these students and a lot of these professionals, their Instagram is phenomenal and it's great for attracting clients and keeping their book full. But when you're looking for career opportunities, it's just not enough, right?
I mean, Canvas Me outlines all things career and truth of that career. So I went to the school, I graduated, or I'm going to graduate on this date. I'm actively seeking an opportunity, and the kind of opportunity I'm actively seeking. I have X, Y, and Z certifications. Here's a couple videos of some of my techniques. Here's a video describing what I'm looking to do with my career and what my future goals are. Here are my Instagram handles. Here's, all my other social handles. So it's essentially everything about that human, but from a professional perspective. And it goes beyond just the pretty pictures on Instagram, right? It really talks about what we're looking for from a career standpoint, who we're looking to connect with, what certifications and awards. And it becomes a celebratory place where we can say, man, I worked so hard. Like, I went to school, I have all these certifications, I became an educator for this brand, and like, who knows it, right? Like, how can I really shout from the mountaintops? And so creating this portfolio outlines your entire career from that celebratory perspective, but really showcases what you're looking to do in the future.
Yeah, and I think
much deeper than Instagram does.
And the searchability factor too, like as a business owner, if I'm a Pulp Riot salon and I'm looking for people in my area that use Pulp Riot, I can do that on Canvas Me. I can search by years of experience. I can search by graduation date. So it becomes a really, really niche sourcing tool as well.
Non-hair, are there facialists on Canvas Me?
Yep. So all programs, so barber, Cosmo, nails, SD. And so it's really essentially just a template, right? And that's why we call it a canvas. And you get to paint the canvas. You get to upload the videos. So it doesn't matter what program you're in. It really highlights not only your skill set, but who you are as a human.
Is there a massage?
Yep.
Pretty cool. Okay. Yeah. So I'm following along pretty well. Hopefully the listeners are too. Is there messaging? So let's say you find, let's say a hairdresser is on there and she's looking to kind of expand what she does professionally. She finds a posted brand that's looking for an XYZ. Is there a messaging component? Can she just message automatically?
Yeah, and that's a really cool feature, because again, like, if you're a young artist and you're looking to, let's just call it Redken, if you're dying to be an educator for Redken, where do you start? Who do you connect with, right? And so when you message that opportunity post, there's a message button. It's going right to that job poster. It's going right to the education director of Redken, right? So you're able to get in front of these people in a way like never before, because everybody mainly is here to either celebrate their work or looking for career opportunities. So there is a cool component as a message feature, and it happens on both sides. So it can be from the job poster, messaging artists, and vice versa.
Yeah, so anybody can message anybody. The power of where I believe is in the messaging tool within Canvas Me is that you can send text message, so you can like type in a message, but you can also send a video message. And that's really where I think we thrive, is we really just triple down on the whole humanization effort, because at the end of the day, especially this new generation, they want to connect with people, right? And so, but they want to connect with them digitally first. There's this idea of this phygital native where they blend their worlds of physical and digital. And so what we can do is, as business owners or as brands that are trying to recruit or connect with that next generation artist, we can send them video messages directly to their Canvas Me portfolio, where they can get an alert and watch that video to earn and build that trust with that person or that brand digitally, before they then feel comfortable. You know, we hear a lot of salon owners are like, we have a ton of no-shows on our interview process, during our interview process. Well, yeah, because you're not earning their trust digitally for them to feel that level of comfort to walk through your doors. And so we're leveraging that messaging component and a lot of the video components from the recruitment, channel piece of it, is to really, drive those deeper connections digitally, so that we can really formalize that in-person or that next level of connection.
And I'm going to take it one step.
Hold on. Before you go, Matt, I just want to take a moment to shout out the word phygital, because I have never heard that word, and I think it's amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's,
Matt?
if you work with any Gen Zer, I mean, even I'm a millennial, I'm barely a millennial, but any generation at this point, like we talk a lot generations, but we're in the world at this point where it's so fluid, right? Like my mom is on TikTok, is on Instagram, is on, right? Like we're all digital natives at this point, right? But when you really look at this younger generation, their primary source of connection is this digital space, right? And so, really just when you see that and then you start to look at this younger generation and you realize I have a younger sister and she wanted to connect with my dad had a friend who had a daughter and they were going to go to the same school. They didn't know each other. And my dad's like, well, maybe you guys can meet for coffee. And she's like, no way. And I'm like, Dad, just let them follow each other on Instagram first. Right? And my sister was like, yeah, that's a really good idea. And so they followed each other on Instagram, got that comfort level, and then met up, right? And so if you just really start to get in that mindset and that psyche, it all really makes sense.
Well, I was just going to take your video and add like a pro tip there too, because one thing that we're seeing, and again, because these people are phygital natives, they want to also not only connect with that business owner, but they want to connect with people that work there. What is the culture? What is the vibe like? So as a business owner, how do you do that? How do you connect your existing team with potential applicants? Well, you could take video of them. You can, hey, I'm Jen. I work at Pope Riot Salon, XYZ, and I love coming to work every day because these are my core values and they match those core values, and I can see myself growing here for years to come. Upload that video when you're reaching out, right? From people that actually love working there, people that live and breathe the culture. That's what's going to attract people to apply, because they want to know who they're going to be working with or working alongside of or being in the same building with every single day. So not only are you highlighting yourself, but it's important to highlight your culture and your team, and you can easily do that by sending a quick little video.
It's intimidating, right? To go into an interview or even to consider working for one of these big brands. It's a big corporate sort of thing, and it's maybe faceless to a lot of people. And so what you're talking about is fantastic, and I think is the key to maybe being a brand that gets a lot more inflow of high quality candidates, and for a candidate, for a hairdresser looking for something like that, it's going to make you feel a lot more comfortable. So how many, the difficulty of a platform like yours is to get both sides. Any marketplace, marketplaces are amazing when you get both sides, but the trick is to get both sides. Sometimes you get one 100%. Side, but the other side, and then the one side who's there is like, well, the other side's not here, so I'm out. And then the marketplace never gets off the ground. And there's countless marketplaces that have tried and failed, and nobody hears about them because they all failed, right?
Yep.
So tell us why should somebody go? Why should a hairdresser go there? How many brands are out there on your platform? And conversely, why should a brand go there? How many beauty professionals are there?
So this is a conversation we continuously have with our internal team, and it's something that Jen and I have been going back and forth on for years. So it's the chicken or the egg, right? Is it the members that are going to drive the salons or the beauty businesses, or is it going to be the beauty business that drive the members in the schools, right? So I think I won that battle about a year or two ago. And so what we decided to do is we started to take the approach of the long game and really focusing on schools, because that was the future of the generation, of the industry, and that was the future of where we felt these people really needed help. So we started to launch with schools, because that's also increased. Every school has an average of about 60 students, right, a quarter, right? So if you think about that, so as you sign on a school, go ahead.
And when you say start with schools, are you talking about starting with the school institution, or are you talking about with the students who are at the school?
Both.
Okay.
Yep.
Go ahead.
So, do you want to say something?
I was just going to clarify. So what we do is we start at the school level, where we empower schools to provide curriculum to their students that, rather than they build a resume, right, like a Word doc resume where they're trying to mess with Word and they're like, but I'm so creative and I want to import my images and how do I do that and is that working? So we empower the school to offer curriculum building that talks to creating a portfolio and that portfolio creation, which these phygital, right, natives want and crave, and they know how to leverage technology to market themselves, and so they thrive in this space. And so essentially having the Canvas Me curriculum in your school makes you somewhat of an elevated school that really sees the future, that really is empowering your student to not only just be seen in her local community, but to be seen worldwide, right? And to apply for any opportunity. You know, they might be thinking already they want to leave their small town and they want to go somewhere else, you know, in the city, or, you know, or vice versa, right? And so that school becomes an elevated school. So we're kind of elevating the game there. But at the same time, we're creating these crazy brand advocates that just love the tool, that are so empowered, that literally will call us and say, I feel so legit right now, and I feel really confident to be able to send my portfolio to anybody, or I can apply with a click of a button to some of these awesome opportunities that I probably would have been scared to apply before, because I wouldn't have known where to start, right? Creating a resume. And so we're creating these amazing advocates who are sharing their portfolio links and building this organic, like, grassroots movement through the communities. And that's really how we've grown so quickly. And then as a result, these businesses are like, what is this thing? This is amazing. You know, the student has a QR code. They also have a link, and they can auto-generate a resume right from their portfolio. So as the students are sharing this, these businesses are like, what's happening? And the schools, as a result, are like, this is saving us so much time, because in the past, there was somebody that wears many hats at the school, and they were trying to have a relationship with all the local businesses, but it's very difficult, right? They're one human doing many different tasks. And so they were able to now say, hey, business owners, if you want access to our students, we're leveraging this cool technological tool that you can now meet them there. And have access to our students there. So we just started solving at the core what that issue was, and really it was the core of helping these students really show up in an awesome way, but then bridging the gap of that connection of, like, student and school and business. And that's really kind of how we started to elevate, and it just keeps spreading throughout communities, which is really, really cool. Go ahead, Matt.
So today, Canvas Me represents over 350 schools, and it grows every month. 34,000 members are creating portfolios, wow. And thousands of businesses are on the platform.
Thousands of business. That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay,
yeah,
and you use the term member, and member is the beauty professional?
Yeah, the student or the beauty pro.
Right. And is it free to build a profile?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. And for the brand actually, let me first ask this question. If you're a beauty pro who wants to connect to a brand, do you need an account?
So if you're a brand that has an opportunity on Canvas Me, you can share your link with anybody in the world. They don't need to know what Canvas Me is. They don't need to have a Canvas Me account to actually see the opportunity. Okay. If they want to apply for that opportunity, they can then create, it's similar to some of those sites where you're like, okay, you want to apply, you create an account, upload your photos, do what you got to do, and then hit apply.
Yeah,
sure. And that's for both sides. The student can share the portfolio without anybody knowing what Canvas Me is, and still visible.
we're never going to have every career opportunity. We're never going to have every salon or beauty business, right, on the platform. So they can share their link with anybody, whether they've heard of Canvas Me or not, right? So if you want to apply for a really cool salon that just opened up down the street, you can take your portfolio, share your link, and they could view it just like a website.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so for the brands that are for the people who work for brands listening right now, is there a cost to a brand having a profile and or putting out an opportunity?
There is. So depends. It all varies. Like for a salon, like a one location brick and mortar salon, it's $39 a month to have a subscription. You can post an opportunity every month. But then it varies based on the number of opportunities, what you're looking for in the business. If you're looking for, let's say, an esthetician and a stylist and a front desk professional, right? So those costs go up depending on how many roles you want to fill. And then the brands, it really varies on the level of awareness they want to generate. So if they're looking for a national opportunity, right? So if they want to touch every one of our members with an opportunity, that's one cost. If they want to do a regional or localized opportunity, that's another. So it really just depends.
Yeah, and I just want to kind of go back to in terms of like, is it the chicken or the egg? So for businesses, a lot of times we'll get like, hey, are you highly saturated in our area? And a lot of times we are, because we have that school reach, and so we've been, really saturated quickly in a lot of areas. But the real point here is that what we do is we completely revolutionize your recruitment process, right? So right now, if you go to a business's, any salon or spa careers page, it's this long, lengthy form, or sometimes they don't even have a careers page, right? And then they're on Instagram and they're saying, we're hiring, come work for us, right? And it's like, well, what's the call to action? How do I work for you? What do I need to provide you with? Where do I go? And as a professional and as an artist in the industry, I'm not great at creating my resume. I don't know where to start, right? Now I'm procrastinating, and now you're like, that process is creating a lot of stopgaps. And so what we do is we revolutionize your process, where the Canvas Me page, right? We essentially, as you build your opportunity page, you're building it's your careers page. You can use that as your careers. You can literally link from your website and say, hey, we're hiring, right back to your opportunity on Canvas Me. And you don't need a developer, because your Canvas Me template is literally a template you can go in, you can edit, you can swap out images, all on your own. And then you can leverage that as your funnel. So it's on your website. So if you say I'm hiring on your Instagram page or your social channel, you can drive them back to that link, where then that professional or that potential candidate can see, watch video, understand what your culture and your company's about. And then you're providing them a way that they can apply by providing a portfolio. Not, I have to upload most of the time at the end of the forms, it's like, upload a resume. Well, like, I don't have a resume, right? And so we're providing that process where now that professional that's interested, oh my gosh, it's really easy. I can just create a portfolio and apply. And now as a business owner, you're not vetting through Word doc resumes, which really do nothing for you. At the end of the day, Word doc resumes, you have to do that initial interview, screening interview to get their personality. Who are they? Right now you're wasting time. That digital portfolio, you're launching to live portfolios, you're watching videos, you're really getting a sense of who that is. So it's really just a mindset shift of like, how do you want to recruit? Do you want to recruit the old school way of big long form, upload a resume, and then having to take time to do those initial interviews? Or do you want to just have that process created for you? Have an applicant funnel, right? Because Canvas Me will actually provide you an applicant funnel. Because at the end of the day, you should always be hiring, right? Because you never know what next week, next month is going to bring. And now I can revisit that applicant funnel from my last round of hiring and say, hey, are you still interested? So that's really like the mindset shift.
One of the things, this is kind of hitting on something that I've been complaining about for decades, which is in school, whether it's high school or even college or beauty school, maybe some beauty schools do this, but in school, we're not taught how to get a job. Like I'm always so flabbergasted.
Yes.
You're not, like in high school, you're not taught how to get a job. In college, you're not taught how to get a job. And there's a few other things you're not taught, which are just mind-boggling to me. Things like personal finance. Like never in school are you taught personal, but yet every single human needs to, manage themselves financially and get a job, right? So what you're doing is you're making this easier. Part of your kind of public-facing content that you put out there is giving tidbits on how to interview, how to get jobs, which I find really good. Matt, I saw something where you talk about questions to ask the interviewer, and this is huge. As somebody who interviews people, it's very, very important for me to glean from the person who's sitting on the other side of the table, or now on the other side of the screen sometimes. Does this person actually want the job? Like, are they really interested in this job, or did Salon Republic's profile just get emailed to them through one of these kind of facilitators out there? Oftentimes when I'm interviewing people, they haven't even been to our website. They don't even know what we do. So Matt, talk about that. Help the listeners kind of get an idea of how to show interest and enthusiasm for a certain position. With that, questions to ask the interviewer.
Yeah, it's so critical. And again, it's something that's not really taught. And part of our curriculum that these schools are getting, the third element is professional development, preparing for the interview, what you should be doing. And it really stems from a couple of different things. And I talked about it last week too. Like, first of all, before you start your job search, you need to understand like what your core values are. What are you looking for in a culture? What are you looking for in a job? Like, what are your goals over the next year or two? Because you have to align yourself with the right brands and the right businesses that are going to allow you to achieve those goals. So number one, you need to have clarity. And when you have that clarity, then you can start to research opportunities. You can start to learn about the business. And this doesn't have to take a long time. You need to go to the website. You need to go to their social. You need to figure out what they're doing in the local community. How do they align with your values? Imagine sitting across from an interview and being like, these are my values, Eric. 1, 2, and 3. Can you support those values? Right? You would be like, holy shit. This is pretty cool. Like, so understanding the business that you want to apply for, understanding their culture, what they're doing in the community, and then of course, how does it align with you, will allow you to ask simple questions like, what is your culture? What does the career path look like for me working for you, right? Like, what are your challenges you've seen over the last year? What are the things that you've loved that you've seen over the last year? Like, those little things will add so much value to that interviewee that people just don't do it enough. Really.
So, Jen, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, no, it was great. I just was saying, imagine saying, these are my core values, and I know that your company aligns with them in the following ways because I've done my homework, right? I've done my research. So really powerful.
So true.
So I remember an applicant to Salon Republic years ago asking me a phenomenal question. I'll never forget it. It was so simple. She said, please describe for me your ideal employee, or please describe for me, an employee that is not very good. Maybe somebody who you brought on that you liked, but it didn't work out. Like, why didn't it work out with that employee? And it allows the employer, the business, to describe in very clear terms what they're looking for. Yep. And then the applicant can decide, well, do I fit into that or not? I think it's really, really important. It's one of those decisions. Of course, deciding who you're going to marry or be with in your life is probably decision number one. Decision maybe number 2 is, where am I going to work? Where am I going to spend every single day for the next X number of months or years? Very, very important.
And honestly, I think that's because we're not asking those right questions. I think that's why we see so many people exiting our industry, because what's happening is they're leaving school and they're just going into the first job that they see. And within 6 to 12 months, they're leaving because they're miserable, and they're leaving the industry. They're not just leaving that job, they're leaving the industry. And we see it so often. We talk to so many artists that luckily found their way back, but there's a lot of people that don't. And a lot of it is because they're not asking the right questions. And you're not being set up for success. You need to understand, number one, that clarity, and then really just align yourselves and ask those right questions. It's so critical, and it's such a big part of the interview process. Yeah.
Totally true. Also, I don't remember, Jen, if it was your content or Matt's or just Canvas Me's, but you guys talked about soft skills, 4 soft skills. You want to talk about those? Yeah. First of all, what are soft skills?
So for me, the way I explain it, soft skills are the intangibles, right? Soft skills are the things that go way beyond, we talked about it earlier, than the technical skills, right? So as an artist, I think there's 2 main elements. your creativity and your technical skills, which is important, but then you have your soft skills, which is everything else, talking about communication, talking about emotional intelligence, talking about your growth mindset and passion and dedication. To me, those are soft skills. And as service providers in this industry, those are all critical. So the ones that we talked about, and I'll save the last one for Jen, but first of all, like for me, a soft skill in this industry is time management, organization, right? If you're not setting yourself up for success every single day, it's going to be in any career, in any industry, it's going to be very difficult to succeed. But understanding time management, even like our day starts the night before, right? We're planning out every morning, we're planning out every day. And so being organized is going to set you apart from a lot of people. Number two is having a growth mindset. Listen, there's a lot of amazing artists in this industry, everywhere you go, okay? But if you're not willing to grow every single day and be uncomfortable and learn something new every single day, you're gonna be left behind. If you don't have a growth mindset, and again, you can't really be taught that, right? It's something that you have to be wanting. It's something you're willing to get better. And Jen and I, we in the shower, we don't have a lot of time. I spend 15 minutes in the shower listening to a podcast every morning, right? Because I need to learn something. I need to get something new in my brain, right? So it doesn't have to spend a lot of time, but you have to have a growth mindset. And I think the last one is a big one. I'll let Jen kind of go into it, but it's emotional intelligence.
Well, yeah, I think, Eric, back to your question of like, we're not taught these things in school. And I think a lot of people aren't really taught how to refine those soft skills, like communication, right? Like team building or being a team player. And I think that's where we really come in and we help these at the student level develop those skill sets and develop that level of clarity, because you don't know what you don't know. And because we haven't been taught these skills as kids within our homes or at school, we go out into the world, we don't know how to communicate, and then we come home and we're like, why did I just have a shitty day? Well, because your communication skills were shit and people thought you were saying something when you weren't saying this, and now you're mad at this person because you don't understand that they had a bad day, right? And it all just kind of like crumbles down. And so our one big pillar is that at the end of the day, yes, we have this platform that's beautiful and it's a recruitment platform, but it serves and it solves the recruitment issue. But at the end of the day, we're human behavior experts and human potential experts. And so how can we help humans, especially in a service-based industry, really hone in and understand what those soft skills are? And it really boils down to really understanding what your limiting beliefs are as a human, because once you define what your limiting beliefs are and you rewrite your story, a lot of us are living this victim mindset. We have this victim story that we continuously play out with ourselves, me included, right? And so how can we rewrite this victim story to have that level of clarity of this is just a limiting belief coming up, so that we then become better communicators? Because by just understanding ourselves better and why we have limiting beliefs and why this was triggering to me, so-and-so didn't say hi to me. Well, really, I'm triggered by that because I don't feel worthy enough, right? Mm-hmm. When we have that level of clarity, we can really show up every day and understand that when people are doing things, in your presence that are triggering to you, says everything about them and nothing about you. And so how can we really communicate in a way through compassion and empathy and have that level of clarity, so that we can have successful days and really start to, pull people to our side rather than, everybody at the end of the day is doing their best job that they can do. And if you come across somebody that's in a bad way, well, that's their best in that moment because they're going through something really big. And so if we can all come from that mindset, at the end of the day, people sit in our chairs because they want to look good, but they want to leave and feel even better. And so if we can come from that perspective and we can help them feel like the best person ever and give them these little nuggets of emotional intelligence and mindset and really helping them understand how to change their day, you'll be booked for the rest of your life,
Totally. It's just everything you said is just spot on. So you guys have come into the industry. You've created something new that's needed. Talk about where you're from. How did you get into this? Jen, you first.
So Matt and I actually both worked for a big software company in the beauty industry. One of the top software companies in the beauty industry. So a ton of experience working in the industry, but leveraging technology and tools to help salons and spas and beauty businesses grow. And so really understanding, what a beauty business owner goes through day in and day out. I was there for 15 years. I was at this company for 15 years. Matt was there for about 7 years. So really witnessing, the struggles of the everyday beauty business owner helped us really understand what their challenges are. At the end of the day, they can have the best strategies, they can have the best tools, they can have the best everything, but if they don't have the right people to execute on those strategies, well, then they really can't get very far. And so, we identified this probably 15 years ago, maybe 10, right? But it probably wouldn't have worked then because the mindset of that professional wasn't matching, right, the tool that we have today. And so it wasn't until a couple years ago that we had the guts to quit our jobs. We both moved across country because I finally had that level of clarity that I had to build this thing. And my main passion and my main purpose was, as a young kid, I felt like I didn't have a voice and I felt like I didn't belong, mostly because I grew up in a very non-traditional family household. My grandmother raised me. She didn't speak English, and story for another time. But I felt like I had to build this tool because I witnessed the toxic environments. I've witnessed the walkouts. I've witnessed these people who have built their dreams completely crumble. And I wanted to solve that for them. But at the end of the day, I wanted to give the artist a voice on a massive scale because I felt like I didn't have a voice, but also to help them find their place of belonging. So Matt and I both quit our jobs. We had 2 small kids. We moved across country, which is where we met you, Eric, in California. So we moved from New Jersey to California. We lived with my mom. All 4 of us for 2 years slept in 1 bedroom. So we all shared a bedroom for 2 years so that we
with
can
2
build
little kids.
Yes.
That's no small feat.
Yes.
There's a lot of feet there, a lot of feet.
A lot of feet.
There's a lot of small feet.
And so, and I think part of why the success of Canvas Me is been, honestly overwhelming and almost unbelievable at times. But really at the end of the day, yes, we're solving the issue, but I think people want to get behind this movement of professionalizing and empowering businesses and artists with a voice so that they can find their people. And that's where I think this is just going to be a movement that keeps going, which is awesome.
Matt, you want to add to that?
Sometimes she says everything that I want to say, and so
yeah. I would just be quiet. If my wife had said that all that, I would just be quiet. I would just go to
the
dead
hair
air.
says everything, honey.
As much as I like talking, I'm going to let that one go. Yeah.
Let's just enjoy some dead air for a moment so everyone could absorb what Jen just said.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a wave the wand question that I like to ask people. And Matt, this will be yours. If you could wave a wand and change anything about the industry at all right now, what would it be?
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to our team about this question earlier this morning, and I think that the same theme kept coming back. And again, for me, it's making this awareness around EQ and mental health and clarity just a staple in salons and beauty businesses across the country. Like, I just don't think people are talking about it enough and people are making it a big enough priority. Not only is this next generation of artists that's coming out of school so focused around mental health and mental awareness, but when people ask me, like, how do I retain employees? How do I build cultures that last, that are loyal and happy and provide just great atmosphere for my clients? It all stems with emotional intelligence. If we're not pouring into our stylists, if we're not pouring into our people, it's going to be very difficult to retain anybody. And so if I had a magic wand and I can just poof, I just think that the topic around emotional intelligence and mental health, it would just be a staple in every salon. Regular education, regular processes, resources. I just think it needs to become, over the next 2 to 3 years, synonymous with technical education, because it's not right now.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there was a wand big enough to make that happen, because that's, emotional intelligence is next level stuff. It doesn't come naturally for a lot of people. I agree that it can be learned if you put enough effort into trying. So we'll wave that enormous wand and hope that happens. So hair horror stories. Normally, of course, we're talking to a hairstylist, and there's always some dramatic chemical misfire on somebody's hair, and the client, lights on fire, and it's very dramatic. But there must be some Canvas Me horror story. So you maybe, I don't know, you had COVID, you went in a meeting, and then just like everybody got it and people are falling under the table. There's got to be something.
Oh my God, I'm really thinking.
Maybe some technical, like the whole thing crashed.
We've been pretty lucky. There's definitely, there's, and I don't know, there's definitely things, massive challenges that we had to go through as a startup and a small business.
Competitor sabotage, any of that?
We do see a lot of developers come and create accounts on our site a lot.
Really?
Yeah, all the time. And it's funny because like the older version of me, again, emotional intelligence, the older version of me would get really frustrated and focus on it and be like, man, like what, people are stealing our idea, and but the abundance part of me feels like, hey man, like there's like a million softwares out there, and there's so much abundance that they're all successful in their own lane. And if we're focused on the competitors, we're just going to divert and be distracted. And if we just focus on what our end game is and really pouring into this community and doing what we need to do to get this to be the next level, then we'll be focused on that and we won't really care. But it happens all the time.
So this happened, I did think of something.
Awesome.
So
knew you would.
This happened right before I started working for Millennium, but I was going to I had a huge meeting.
This is the last company we worked for. We didn't clarify that.
In Kentucky, a huge meeting in Kentucky, and it was a press conference. There was 400 people in the audience, and there was a panel. The company was like Shell Oil, like a massive company, and I had to go up there and say a couple things to open this up. And I was a little nervous, as you can imagine. I don't like public speaking, as most people don't. And it was my first week with this company. First week with the clients, everything. And I go out there, and for some reason, I didn't take the stairs. And I
hopped up on stage.
So I didn't hop. I wish I would have hopped.
And I'm so happy we had the thigh conversation before this, because it sets the stage.
Oh, no. So I'm wearing a skinny suit. And the stage is about 3.5 foot stage, and I lift my one leg to get onto the stage, and all you hear
it wasn't a stretchy suit?
No. Matt is not a stretchy kind of guy.
Wow.
Skinny all the way.
And it's dead silence, and all you hear is so my suit, some of these people just met me for the first time. My suit, amazing. It rips from the top of my butt all the way down to my knee.
Below your thigh.
Below my thigh. So I have this like giant fabric just waving, and the whole everybody's. So you hear like a gasp, like right, and so I'm immediately like just red, and I take off my blazer, I tie it around my waist, and I just kind of side shuffle off the stage.
No, wait, hold on, pause. I need details. Okay, so wait, were you bare pickle?
No, but I had like tight boxer shorts with my white thighs, thick white thighs.
Were your boxer shorts white? Were they tighty whitey boxer shorts? Okay.
They weren't white. Good. I think they were like a navy blue.
Okay. It's probably matching.
But they were like, because I had a tight suit on, and so they like rolled up. They were just, imagine like tighty whities. So they were just like, they weren't like, low on my thigh whatsoever.
And so were you unable to utter a comment into the microphone? You were immediately off with the jacket, and that was it.
That was it.
Complete failure.
And
were people laughing, or was it just that very awkward silence?
Some people were laughing. Okay. It was mostly awkward silence, and to this day, I'll have people reach out to me and they call me Vent. I'm not making any of this up.
Vent. I love that. Vent.
That's a pretty bad story.
That's a great story.
Phenomenal story.
And you know what's great about that is that everybody loves him more, right? Because we love each other when we're in that vulnerable place of like awkwardness, and now we have this deep connection, and so I love that story.
Love, pity,
right. There's a level of visual familiarity beyond what was existing before.
Yes.
So, yes, thank you very
100%.
much for showing yourself.
I guess it could have been worse. If I wasn't wearing underwear, I think that would have been rough.
It could always be worse.
Yep.
100%.
All right. Well, that was excellent. Thanks for sharing that. Any last words for the community? Jen first.
I always love to share this mantra because it's been my mantra is the fear of regret is bigger than the fear of failure. And I've never lived by that. For most of my life, I didn't live by that mantra. And I was always scared to take the next leap, the next step. What if I'm not good enough? What if I'm not this? What if I'm not that? And the number one thing you hear from people at the end of their careers, at the end of, they're all regret not trying. And so it's not about failure or success. It's about, did I do what I needed to do to, fulfill that bucket of trying and seeing if this will work. And so we live by that mantra every single day because navigating a startup and navigating as entrepreneurs is not easy. But the fear of regret is bigger than that fear of failure. And so we take big chances and we don't look back.
Yeah. On the same vein here, we both have trust the journey on our hands. We have tattooed, and I think
for the listeners, I'm seeing tattoos on body parts.
And I think every single day when we meditate in the morning, it's about trusting the journey. And I know it can be so hard, and it's being entrepreneurs and being small business owners is the hardest thing we've ever done, and the most grateful thing we've ever done, and fulfilling thing we've ever done. And I think it can be really hard and scary, and you can question. We do it all the time. We question ourselves. We question our decisions. But at the end of the day, if you're still truly passionate about what you're doing and you're adding that value, you have to just trust and believe that it's going to work out. And for us too, we didn't get this far just to get this far. Our friend Mark Busso said that once, and it always sticks with me. And so you have to trust. And I think a big part of getting through tough moments and getting through difficult times is trusting. So
one of my favorite parts of the industry is how many entrepreneurial opportunities there are in it, and how many people can transition from somebody who never thought that they could do something on their own or by themselves, or at least by their own kind of intentions and effort, transition from that person to somebody who actually accomplishes that on their own. And that's kind of what I've always lived by, and how we've built Salon Republic to help those people. And I just think it's amazing. And so watching you guys do your journey has been awesome for me, and I'm sure many others. And so I appreciate the stories and everything that you're doing.
Thank you, Eric. So happy to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Grateful.
And so where can people find you? What is your website, first off?
We're at canvasme.com is our website. You can find us. All of our social handles are at canvasme. So Instagram at canvasme, YouTube at canvasme, TikTok at canvasme. What am I missing? Facebook at canvasme.
And then Jen, your gram, you've got your own gram. Is it Jen Martinelli?
Yes.
Yeah, Jen Martinelli.
So I am at Jen Martinelli 8. Lucky number 8.
And I am Matt Martinelli 8, which is easy.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.